Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today we have learned some very interesting new details about Battlefield 4. The first thing, which I'm very excited about, is that the Naval Strike DLC is set to launch on March 25th for all premium members. I personally cannot wait to get my hands on all the new maps and try out the new game mode. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, but one thing that really took me by surprise is that apparently for the next DLC, Dragon's Teeth, DICE is going to be working on and implementing a two-handed Ballistic Shield. The first time I heard about this, it sounded very gimmicky to me. I know that this has been in past first-person shooters. It was in Counter-Strike, it was in Call of Duty, and I know a lot of people are screaming that DICE is just trying to be like Call of Duty, which I think is just nonsense. Like this was in Counter-Strike, or I believe it was in Counter-Strike way before it was ever in the Call of Duty franchise, but still, I don't see how this is going to really enhance the gameplay. And one of the problems that I think that DICE has with a lot of these DLCs is that they try to think of what they can put in the game to try to sell these expansion packs, and it usually just comes down to something gimmicky. Like, I would say that the gunship back in Battlefield 3 was extremely gimmicky. It was like, okay, it's gonna fly up in the sky, you can jump into it, you can rain death down upon people, but just the way it was implemented and the game mechanics behind it, it just felt tacked on and honestly, gimmicky. And this is something, at least if it's not implemented correctly, could go down the same path. And so at first, when I just heard about it, I wasn't all that impressed. But after thinking about it for a while and trying to discover how this might be implemented correctly, I did slowly start to warm up to the idea. I'm not completely sold at this point, but I am slowly starting to warm up to it. And so the way I'm assuming it's going to be implemented is that this is going to be a customization option for your soldier, so it might be one of the gadgets. So instead of using a med pack or a defibrillator, if you're playing as a medic or the assault class, you can swap out one of those gadgets for a massive ballistic shield. And I'm assuming that when you're running around with this, it's two-hander, you can't shoot behind it, you can't throw a grenade, or I'm assuming you can't throw a grenade, you're having to use both hands to hold this bad boy up, and because of that, it's going to be a very defensive-oriented gadget. Like, you can't shoot behind it, you can't do anything, and the only way that you're going to be able to take advantage of it is probably to defend an objective, and also when you're working with a teammate. And this is where some of the interesting aspects of it could come into play, because let's say for example, you're on an objective, you know that there's a lot of enemies nearby, and instead of just trying to take them out normally with one of your weapons, you pull out your ballistic shield, you have it in front of you, you're moving around, but you also have one of your teammates, let's say he's like your buddy, he's following behind you, so you're shielding him, but then when the enemies round the corner, they see you, they try to shoot at your ballistic shield, but then your buddy pops out and takes everyone out before they even realize he's there. And if you're able to pull that off, that would be an amazing aspect of using the ballistic shield, but that seems a little bit too team-oriented, and I know that sounds a little funny because you would want the Battlefield franchise to be very team-oriented, but how many situations are you going to be in where you're actually able to pull that off? That seems like they're going to be very few and far between. And so what I'm curious to see is if you're able to actually put the Riot Shield down on the ground in front of you and use it as a mobile cover. So if you're trying to take an objective, or let's say for example you're on an MCOM, instead of just trying to find a nook and cranny that's near that MCOM, you can place down this Riot Shield in a prime location, sit behind it, and then when everyone tries to go and disarm the MCOM, you have this nifty little mobile cover at your disposal, and you can duck behind, maybe peek above it, and then take everyone out. And if that's the way that they're going to be implementing it, I feel like we're slowly starting to move away from a gimmicky sounding gadget into something that actually could be useful and you could see being a tactical advantage on the battlefield. The one thing that I am very curious to learn about though is what happens when you don't have it equipped. Is it going to be on your back, and will it block bullets for you behind you? Because if that is the case, now we're starting to move into overpowered territory, because if you're able to run around as an assault player, you have the thing on your back and you're using a primary weapon and you just want your med pack, that is a very selfish yet powerful combination, because you guys know getting flanked in Battlefield happens all the time, and if you have something that's going to watch your back essentially for you, it's going to block all bullets, yeah, you only have to worry about what's going on in front of you and to the sides, and if that is the case, you're going to have a much easier time surviving firefights and just extending your kill streak. And so I don't know if that is the way that this is going to go down. I know that's how it worked in, I think, the Call of Duty franchise. It's been a while since I played COD, but if that is the case, I feel like it would start to be moving more into the overpowered category. But if none of that is an option, you can't place it on your back, you can't place it down on the ground, then I just think it's going to be a gimmick in the game. Because while sure, you're going to be able to push up onto objectives, you may be able to use this on rush and block those bullets and allow you to get onto one of the MCOMs, I just don't see it being all that useful because in this game, there are a lot of explosive devices. And honestly, if it becomes very popular, you'd probably see a lot more people running around as the engineer class. Like, if you see someone with a gigantic shield in front of them, just switch on over to an RPG, and because they're probably not going to be able to move very quickly, it's going to be basically a guaranteed kill at that point. They're going to be out in the open. It's going to be very easy for you to secure that nice little explosive kill. And because there are just so many different explosive devices in this game, not only from the infantry units, but also from tanks and from helicopters, like everything in this game can explode or has some sort of way to kill you. And if it doesn't have any other tactical advantage other than just using it in your two-hand and pushing onto an objective, it doesn't seem like it's going to add to the gameplay, and once again, we move into the gimmick category. But I would like to know what you guys think about this. Can you not wait to get your hands on the Ballistic Shield and form a phalanx line with all of your buddies and push up down the halls on Operation Metro or Operation Locker? That does sound cool. Like, that does sound amazing. Or are you a little disappointed with the prospect of having a Riot or Ballistic Shield added into the game? Let me know down below in the comment section. The final thing that I wanted to talk about today also has to do with the shields, is that DICE wanted to do a little bit more with them, apparently, but because of the limitations of the old gen systems, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3, they weren't able to do so. Like, they actually wanted to make the Riot Shield be a one-hander, and you could use your pistol. So if you're running down the hallway, you could shoot people with your pistol and take people out that way. That sounds extremely powerful, but that was the route that they were trying to go down. But because of the limitations of the previous gen systems, like their 8-year-old systems, they don't have the memory to have those animations in the game. Like, they just did not have the capabilities of adding that into Battlefield 4. And what's revealing about this, and probably what many of you already suspected, is that the old gen systems are holding back innovations in the Battlefield franchise. What other things did DICE have to hold back in Battlefield 4 because they had to accommodate the old gen systems? Like, I'm so tired of those consoles holding back innovation in Battlefield and really in all video games. Like, this is something that all developers have to take into consideration. Like, they wanna have a good profit. They want to sell as many copies as they possibly can, and that's the reason why DICE sold this on 5 different systems. But it's just eye-opening to finally see them admit that they really did have to hold back on some of their ideas, and I'm really curious to know what other things they had to hold back in Battlefield 4 because they had to accommodate the old gen systems. But that is about it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of everything that's going on. Are you excited to play on the Naval Strike DLC? Can you not wait to get your hands on the Ballistic Shields? Let me know down below in the comment section. But until tomorrow, have a good one and take it easy.